listening to the Money Monopolizers podcast, helping you take control of your financial destiny. It's about time that we invest more in our financial literacy and work towards building generational wealth. If you think you're ready to do the same, then you've come to the right place. Alex, Marlon, y'all ready? Let's get this bread.
What's good, everybody? It's Alex Kamuya here, and we are back with episode 118 of the Money Monopolizers podcast, and I'm here with my co-host, Marlon Walls. Marlon, how you doing today, bro?
I'm doing excellent, man. First of all, I just made that trip out here today, so fully energized. I've been up about 3 hours. And had a 3-hour trip. I woke up at like 5:30. It was crazy.
To get here?
Yes, to get here.
Sheesh.
I think I hit a max of 110 today.
I got a death wish.
Like, I looked at the speedometer. I was like, yeah, let me go ahead and slow this down a little bit. But I don't know. I'll be like in a zone. I do a lot of thinking while I'm in that car though. Yeah. So I do like making the trips for that reason, because that's like time where I can just spend just thinking about where I want everything to go. So I'm super excited for this episode, primarily because this is our first episode of this year of 2022.
Yes, sir.
And I'm trying to make sure that we do better than we did last year, missing the consistent episodes by one.
Yeah.
So that's one of my main goals for this year for the podcast, is just to have 52 episodes in a row, or each. So pretty much covering each week of the year.
Man, I think 52 for us to miss it by one last year was just like, I mean, it is what it is. It's not a big deal at the end of the day, but it's kind of like something where it's just you know it yourself.
That's pretty much making a 99 on the test.
Yeah, because it's like, how many at the end, when it's all said and done, it's like, how many years can you say we put 52 episodes out in a year? Now that's 1 year that you can get to put 52 out because you missed it by one.
Yep.
So anyways, but yeah, man, super excited for the new year. It's 2022. Happy New Year to everybody listening, man. We are so excited to get into, this new year for everything we have planned for the show, for our businesses, for our lives, man. Like we said last time, every year it just gets better and better, man. We like aging like fine wine, and it's just I'm feeling so blessed and so excited and so happy to share everything that we have going on, and also continue to grow this show and this podcast, man, because it's been growing like crazy. We got a ton of listeners over this past, at quarter four, I guess, of last year, and it's been consistent as far as we've been able to maintain it. Yeah. It's always interesting, because whenever, I don't know if y'all, for those that don't know, when you do a show or a podcast or something, you might get an influx of new listeners, but you got to see how many of them are going to be retained, like how many of them are true listeners versus people that just came for the show. And so that's why I'm always excited to do these kind of episodes, because first of all, okay, so a few things I want to talk about before we kind of get into it. So somebody was talking to me. I was talking to somebody last week, and they were telling me how they really love the solo episodes that we do. Mm-hmm. And that, I really loved hearing that. Lord have mercy, this light is not doing me mercy. I really love hearing that, because if you watch it on YouTube, you know what I'm talking about. But I really love hearing that because, I'm a big proponent of the fact that we want to grow the show based off of what we have to share and teach. Like, the guests are amazing, bringing guests on the show. But at the end of the day, if people are only tuning in because we got a high-profile name or some sort of guest with a crazy story, they're not really tuning in for us. So I want to make sure that, people are tuning in for us. And so hearing someone say that the solo episodes that we do just, ourselves are their favorite episodes, especially with the new show format. A lot of people love that. I'm not going to say a lot of people do. I've spoken to a few people and they said they love it, but that tells me that a lot of people probably do love it, because, we get over, 10,000 listeners a month, and, can't speak to them all. But having that, that it motivates me to continue to put out more episodes and for us to stay consistent for this year. So
now, I know that was like one of the main concerns, and when we first had that influx from last year, it's like, man, is that going to be sustained? Like, yeah, or is this like just a little fad that's going to die off and go right back to where it was? Mm-hmm. But no, I was very proud to see like the sustained growth that we maintained from like middle of last year, and then maintained all the way through the end of the year. So I know that's going to be like the lowest, the low end of the totem pole like this year in comparison to like last year. Last year that was like the pinnacle, but now that's gonna be like the bare minimum.
Yeah.
And I know that we're gonna just continue to grow this just because we're gonna stay consistent. The content's gonna get better as we continue to evolve, and it's gonna just continue to grow from here.
Yeah.
I wanted to mention something with that, but
Well, so how's everything been as far as like not like business updates, but just like personal stuff?
everything's been good overall. Let's see, this will be released in the new year, so and we're probably gonna be out of town when this releases. So me and my girl, we're actually gonna be going to like West Texas. We're just going to a national park. Just gonna be enjoying ourselves, just being able to enjoy the life outside of business while also understanding that the business is the main thing. But every now and again, I think I said that a couple episodes ago, trying to maintain that balance of life. So I'm really looking forward to that. That's something that we've had planned for a couple weeks now. So I'm excited for that particular aspect. Christmas was good as well. Everything's been pretty good overall. How about you?
No, I'm doing well too. I'm excited the holidays were really good. So I think the last time we recorded, it was like, it hadn't really hit Christmas yet. So, Christmas was really well. I went to Boston for a few days. So that was nice. And it was, just kind of being out there was very interesting because, I got to really learn a lot about my extended family too. And I didn't realize necessarily like how many entrepreneurs are actually in my family, in the sense of like, my uncle, he actually owns a fleet of cars himself, and he has over 40 vehicles. He has over 40 vehicles in his fleet, and he's been doing that for 12 years. And I mean, I knew it. But
where you stay at?
In Boston.
So he stay up in Boston. Okay, I gotta connect with him later.
Yeah, but he does they do medical transportation. So he owns the vehicles, but they transport people, and he's makes a killing doing that. I knew about it, but I didn't I never really dove really into it. So it's just kind of interesting because talking to him, I was like, oh yeah, this is really similar to actually what you do. So
just out hearing this, all right.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to the conversation after.
Yeah, we're gonna have to talk about it offline, but hearing that was like crazy because my mom, she's heavily into business and those kinds of things as well. Not in America, but in Kenya. So for those that don't know, so I wasn't born here. I was born in Kenya. And we came over here when I was 1 year old. But my mom and a lot of my family, they invest heavily over there. So my mom owns, buildings and stuff over there, a few apartment buildings, properties, those things. And then my other uncle, he owns many more buildings over there and real estate and things as well. And he also owns he owns a bunch of business like this. He owns like a rock quarry kind of business where it's a lot. So it's like a construction company he owns over there. He also just started a avocado factory over there where they grade avocados and sell them to exporters all around the world. And it's like big business. Like this is like large scale, business. It's not like little, wholesale kind of things. Or retail businesses. This is like large scale stuff. So hearing all these things, I was just like, man, it's so crazy because it's just I don't know. It makes me so so proud to just be the person I am today and to continue to be on this path that I'm on, because I know for me, and this is something I think about a lot, for me to be in the position I'm in is like I give so much glory to God, because I was born into a place in a country where it's like many other people born at the same time as me never got the opportunity to come here, and it's very hard to get to this country. 20 years ago it was hard, and it's even harder now. So for me to be in this position, for God to have picked me to be born into the family that wanted to immigrate here and to have an opportunity to be here and just to be able to do what I'm doing, I don't take that for granted. And that's why I want to go so hard, and that's why I'm not slowing down no time soon, because this is like way bigger than me. It's bigger than me because there's people before me that did a lot for me to be in this position, and there's people that are going to be after me that I'm thinking about too. So
I got questions based off of this. I don't know where this conversation is going to go, but I'm very curious based on what you just said, though, because you mentioned how your uncles, a couple of them had like big businesses that they've been building.
Yeah.
But I know that just from knowing you for so long that your mom was like your parents in general really wanted to push education to like going to school, making sure that the engineering was like the main thing, like pushing that aspect. So I wonder, first of all, were your uncles born over here, or did they also migrate?
No, they
immigrate. I mean,
yeah, they came over here when they was like in the early 2000s, late 90s, early 2000s. So they was already like adults, like 20 in their 20s.
Okay,
they came over here.
And so, were you said, I know you that you may not just have been as inquisitive before about it, but was that ever something that was pushed like from your parents saying, hey, go check out your uncles, like they're building big businesses? And I wonder, like, why was that not a thing, even though they saw the level of success that they were achieving? So why was that not deemed as a success back then?
So they were like, I don't even want to say it wasn't successful back then. It's not, this is like something that's like, they're in their 40s now. So it's like, this is something they've been working at for the last 10, 15 years.
Okay.
And so now it's successful. Mm-hmm. And that's not to say like, they were saying, oh, don't do that because it won't be successful. But it was more so, when you come here from another country, most people that get to America, the American dream is to get a good paying job. To me, the American dream is really financial freedom, because that's actually what's the real possibility. People don't actually know that, but when you're in another country, all you know is, because over there, education is the way out over there. So it's like, okay, I need to get to a place where there's going to be opportunity, because there's just not opportunities in other countries. And education is a direct route to opportunity. It's like a very direct route. You become educated, you will have a good paying job, especially here. Mm-hmm. It's like, you had to not try. If you become educated here obviously in something that matters and something that's important like STEM, if you become educated here, then you're gonna get a good paying job. And that's like a very straightforward, definitive path. The entrepreneurship thing, they saw it, but it was like, it's not as defined. Like that's a road, less traveled, I guess.
Right.
So yeah, I don't know. That is kind of their perspective. They weren't ever going to push that on me, because it's just not something that they were privy to as well themselves as in like to as much as we are now, and as much as even my mom is now, because even now she's.
I was thinking about her too, and I was saying that because you said that she's on the same type of journey as far as like just more so the entrepreneurial route, as far as running her own thing rather than working for somebody else.
Yeah, and so she's. Her biggest thing is just investing in real estate back home.
Okay.
In Kenya, because it's different over there. Things are a lot like it's much cheaper to invest. I don't even want to say cheaper. It's just more. It can be a lot more practical investing over there than over here as far as returns go. So yeah, man. She's I don't know. I'm so proud of her though, just because she's been doing this for 5 years, and to see what she's done. We don't talk about it a lot, just between you and I, but like, she's killing it. She's killing it over there.
So obviously, I'm starting to see that this runs in the family. It's not like it's just that certain mentality that just comes in the family, and I appreciate seeing that.
Yes, it's just, I don't know, man. I guess I was born to be an entrepreneur. Literally, I wasn't born to be an engineer. Like, it's cool, good money, whatever, but at the end of the day, it's like, I firmly believe that the reason God put me into the position I was in, to be able to be born into the family I was born into, and then also get to this country, is because I'm meant to make an impact on many more people than just myself. And that's what a job is to me. Is just, you're just only making an impact in your own life when you work at a job. Obviously, that's very like high level, simplified overview, but generally that's how I look at it. So what we can do is get into our business updates, and then we can get the show on the road.
It's time. I guess I got my swagger back. Keep them posted.
So then now we are in obviously January of 2022, a new year, and I don't even want to necessarily talk about goals and like all that kind of stuff, because it's like we don't operate on the sense of our life is not dictated by a calendar. We set goals and things as we need to, as we see fit, as things come up. Obviously, you can like have it structured in a framework to say, yes, this at this time I want to, go for these goals or have these objectives in place. But at the same time, it's like I don't necessarily want to say I'm not gonna go after this until the new year or until this happens or until this time. Like, dude, why? Like, what are you waiting for? There's nothing to wait for. So, with that being said, what is, you know, as far as the business and things like that, how have things been for you, and what, you know, what do things look like for kind of this year?
So no, we're coming into 2022 with a full head of steam. First of all, that's primarily for the rental car business on itself. Just like, despite like the consulting business is fine, but it's the rental cars that we are about to run it up for sure. And one book that we read closing out 2021 was a 12-week year. I forgot the author for it, but 12-week year was the name of the book, and it pretty much says to compress what the goals that you would normally have for a full year down into 12 weeks. And that's because it's just all about intentionality for one, and also just how you were just saying, don't set goals just because it's January 1st.
Right.
You're setting like this was, it's called 12-week year. It's not called first quarter year. It's called 12 weeks. I mean, you can start any single time of any particular day, any particular week throughout the year. Just start your next 12 weeks. And so now we're able to be much more intentional about the goal that we're trying to obtain, building out a plan to get there, and then breaking that plan down into 12 individual weeks. And so that's something that we're starting to implement this year. We actually just started last week, I guess. But one thing that I wanted to mention from earlier was about the joint ventures that we're able to start obtaining. I was very proud because one of our podcast listeners has actually reached out, and one question we always answer our new onboarding inquiries is, how did you find out about us? He said he had just started following me personally on social media like a week ago, but he said he'd been following the podcast for like 4 months. Yeah. And I was like, man, that's the power of the podcast for real. Like, especially when we're looking for like people to work with us, like when we were talking about real estate before, looking for partnerships that way, me looking for joint ventures, that is literally the way to go about, that's literally like a way for us to bring people on to like work with us, a way for our audience to get involved with our level of success. And so that was one of, we spoke to, I think, 5 new joint venture inquiries last week. And right now, it's a matter of time, because our business coach put us in connection with somebody else who has 7 vehicles out in the Philly. Not just regular vehicles though, not Nissan Sentras, not Hyundai Sonatas. There was a Porsche Panamera. There was a Chevy Corvette. There was I forgot what Audi it was. I don't want to say it's R8, but it's an Audi, like a high-end Audi. Yeah. So these are the possibilities that's like we're having a conversation with him after this after the podcast today. So I'm super, super excited for where this business is finna go, because the fleet is really expanding. We've actually connected with a airport parking lot. We're going to be running our business out of there now. We're probably going to update all of our pictures on the platform. We're going to start building an offline presence. There's so much that's coming in with this next 12 weeks. That's all. These are all the plans, like for the next 12 weeks. Just putting all this together, getting the business structure to where we have business credit. It's a lot of stuff that's coming in.
So when did that start? Was that like the? Hold on. This is annoying me. When did that start, the like 12-week thing?
So I would say last week was the official first week for us, and now we're just continuing on with that, because we've been, like I said, we're working with that business coach. That was like our first official week with her, and that's also where the 12 weeks started, because we're on like a 12-week plan with her all together. And so each week we're just everything is.
So it started last week with her?
Yeah.
So y'all's first week with her is last week?
Yes.
Oh, okay, got you.
And so now we're continuing on from there.
Okay, that's good. I think I never read that book, but that sounds like a very powerful kind of concept, because I know there's definitely, we talk about the whole Parkinson's law, right? In the sense of like things typically expand to fill the space occupied, right? So if we know that if we get like something assigned to us from school, professor says you got 3 weeks to do it, but you could probably knock it out in 3 days. Most people are going to use that entire 3 weeks to actually get that assignment completed, just because, I don't know, people procrastinate just in general. We feel like things aren't urgent until they're urgent.
Yep.
And so the whole concept of condensing a year into 12 weeks, It sounds crazy to think about, but I'm sure it's probably something that could really be done. Because I know a lot of there's so many like principles, but another one too is the Pareto principle, right? 80% of the results come from 20% of activities. Most of the activities that probably are going to be condensed are going to be those big things that are going to produce a majority of those results. The minutia details, those things that are important, they're good to do, but they're not like, you know, the most important things. Those things, you know, you can probably drag those kinds of things out, but the big important things, trying to condense those into a timeline is important. And so is that like primarily just to get results quicker, or what is the objective of condensed? Like, what's the point of condensing? Because in theory, let's say all things the same, I can take 12 weeks to do this, or I could take a year, but I still hit my results either way. What's the point of condensing it?
So the main thing is understanding that the Parkinson's law is something that he had mentioned in the book, because that's exactly what they're trying to avoid. Because when you make a 12-month goal, it's very, very difficult to identify what I need to be doing today to be on track to hit it. And so you'll look up a quarter through the year and you're like, man, I'm nowhere near hitting that goal that I set for the beginning,
right,
or like to hit by December. And so what you would learn is that a lot of people, like towards October, November time, that's when they really start to ramp everything up, because now the goal is near. And now they're like, okay, now we need to ramp it up because we're not hitting where we need to be. So now you take that same mentality that you have in October and start with that in January to hit a goal by March, if you start from January to March. Right. But you can do that any time of the year. And it's also to say a goal you don't have to delay your goal until January 1st. So that was the second thing. But so taking both of those two together, you having that sense of urgency, because a goal is like the end is near, and then being able to start at any time. The book is a 12-week year by Brian Moran and Michael Lennington. I just searched it. So that's that concept is just very good when it comes to being very intentional from the day one all the way through the final day of the 12-week year. So that's kind of what that book is about.
So now, what is your big thing for this year then? Like, what is the big ultimate, if you don't mind sharing with us?
So there's two different ways. There's two different ways to look at it. There's the long-term vision, and then there's the 12-week goal to hit that long-term vision.
So what's the long-term vision?
The long-term vision for me is $350,000 in the month of December.
You want to make $350,000 in December?
That's because I backtracked it. So my net income, I base everything off net income. Whatever episode we did that on.
What you want to pay yourself?
Correct. I base it all off of that.
What are you trying to pay yourself?
$35,000
in December. 10% of the revenue.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
And so I didn't even look at it as how much revenue I want to make for the year. I look at it based off of like a four week time periods, because the 12-week year is broken up into 3 sets of 4 weeks. Then those 3 sets of 4 weeks are broken up into 4 sets of 1 weeks.
Yeah.
And so for that last set of 4 weeks, that's my goal, to just be able to hit that amount of revenue. So that's going to involve both businesses, the rental cars and then also the consulting. But the rental cars is where we're going to really do a lot of our volume this upcoming year.
So you have playbook in place to get to that by then.
Correct. And it's going to be exponential for sure. What we're doing at this very moment is all the acquisitions and getting everything up off the ground. But
so is there like because obviously it ain't going to be like, all right, it's November, I'm at whatever, 5K to myself. Mm-hmm. I got to get 35 next month. So it's like, it has to be at some point like mid-year, you can like know, am I pacing? Like obviously now, you know, am I halfway there? Mm-hmm. So is it something are you tracking it like that, or? So
it's gonna be an exponential growth curve though. So like this first 4 weeks is gonna be the goal is 5K, and that's the amount that's the amount of net to bring them into myself. And then as we continue on that journey,
in the first month of January,
yes.
This month,
yes,
okay.
And then as you continue on that scale, that's when you start seeing the exponential growth. So one thing about it is that you really plan for that first 12 weeks, and then that next 12 weeks the next 12 weeks that you plan at after the first 12 weeks is kind of dictated based off how you did the first 12 weeks. So the long-term vision, you don't necessarily set the full-on roadmap because things change along the way. But that's still the ultimate vision. So now you let that dictate your current activity.
Right.
And so right now that is the vision of where I want to be at. Right now, what we built out is the first 12 weeks, though. And that the goal is to be able to hit that based through essentially an exponential curve.
Yeah, I love it. I can't wait to see how this unfolds throughout the year, because we can definitely come back to this episode and
This would be one to come back to
and look at that. So that's dope.
That's why I'm super excited to get to the episode too, though.
Yeah.
So business updates for you real quick.
Yeah, so let me see. So, we ended December pretty good. We'll see kind of how it ends when this comes out. But I definitely, we went above what my goal was. My goal, honestly, for the end of the year, I wasn't really trying to do more than $50,000 a month to end out the year. It just wasn't, at that point, it's like, it wasn't like important to me to do that, because my next target is 75. That's kind of what my next goal, that's how I set it. So I really just go in increments of 25,000 until I'm above 100,000. So I think December ended with like 62,000. So that was good, because it shows what I'm tracking, obviously, towards that 75. So I think January, we're really trying to hit that 75,000. Because again, we're talking about long-term visions. For me, everything's based off of my 2026 vision of that I set last January for 5 years from a year ago. So that's why I'm not really going even on a new year thing. It's kind of just like, you have goals for the year kind of, but it's more so based off that long-term vision. Everything is based off the long-term vision, and that's $1 million a month in revenue by that time. Mm-hmm. And that the goal really for this year is to get to $100K a month. That's the goal for 2022. That's how I set that last January. I set that a year ago for 2020.
I can't wait to get to this.
I set that a year ago for 2022, and we're gonna hit that for sure. It's not even a question in my mind, because it's funny too, because actually I kind of I got a lot of things cooking for the new year, because one thing that I really realized was like I could really bring in a lot of additional revenue through commercial services, commercial cleaning services. Because a week ago, I got not even trying, without marketing for it, I got a $60,000 commercial contract for a 3,000 square foot office building, 5 days a week. And I wasn't even marketing for it. So that kind of let me know, it's like, yo, you might have something here that you need to really tap into. So that really set a plan in place for what I need to do, that I've been coming up with this week, for what I really need to do in this year to kind of pick up commercially. And so really my goal is going to be to get a new commercial contract every month. And that, commercial contracts, just, there's a big money in commercial cleaning. And I know that one contract, like this one contract is a $5,000 a month contract. But I know that one contract could be $10,000 a month, one could be $20,000 a month. It just really depends. And so I have been really thinking a lot, really over the last couple of days, about something I have to do. And I'm going to have to make a really big investment into the business this year. It's going to be the largest amount of money I've ever invested into anything, but I'm really having faith in God for it. I've been talking to God about it, because it's like, it's a big number, $50,000 a month, or not a month, $50,000 is what I'm gonna be investing into growing the commercial side of the business. And it's kind of like, I don't know how it's gonna turn out. Like this $50,000 that I'm gonna spend on it. It could be. It might be like I don't know what my ROI will be. I'm kind of just walking in faith. I've been talking to a lot of people about it, but it's something that I have to do to really get to that next level that I want to get to. And you know, I'm not gonna get into the technicalities of it all because I know that, you know, it's not really pertinent to the conversation, but just know that is going to really push things to the next level. And I know, so that's why I know 100,000 a month ain't gonna be nothing. That's gonna be like really nothing. But so really for the goal for this year, just overarching, I'm really gonna push for the minimum is $1 million. That's the absolute minimum for the year in revenue. 7-figure year, my first one, calendar year. So that's kind of my mentality with business right now. But I ain't even gonna lie to you, man. I'm nervous about having to make that investment because that's a lot of money, man. It's a lot of money. But I know it's what I know it's just, here's the thing. Right now it's like that money I'm gonna spend, I could take that money and pay myself.
Oh yeah.
But it's kind of like, again, I say this all the time, like the money I'm making right now is not important to me. The money I'm gonna be making when the business is doing big money, that's the money I'm talking about. Like I ain't worried about the $5,000 a month I can make right now. Bro, I could get that from a job. I'm talking about the big money, 50 grand a month. That's to myself. That's what I'm worried about. And to get to that level, I have to reinvest back into the business. I can't take from the business yet, because anything I take from the business just makes it that much longer that I can get to that level. So I have to, instead, I might even have to take a pay cut again to get to that level. But yo, this is what you got. This is business, man. This is we in the, I ain't even gonna say this the big leagues. We still in the, we still in the minors.
I can't, man.
We not even in the minors, honestly. Like it's because it's some people spending big money. I'm talking 50 grand a month or $50,000. People are spending that in a month easily. So I don't know. That's kind of where I'm at with business. I know I'm all over, but it's just a lot of things.
Nah, I love it, man. Are you is that it for business updates? Because I got so much right now.
Yeah.
Okay. So we could transition into the actual topic because I got to talk about everything you just said. So you said the goal is that the bare minimum you want to hit is $1 million for the year, right?
Yeah, that's like, if I don't do that, then I'm a failure and I need to go back to a job.
Okay. I love being able to say that just confidently because of the fact that of where we are now. So like that to your standard, that is a failure because of what you know you're capable of achieving. Right. So I'm gonna preface this by saying this entire conversation we're about to have came from the initial conversation we had on Tuesday with our guys, just talking about the goals that we have for this year. Yeah. What you had said, and I quote, is that you wanted to make 1.5 million at least this year. Well, that was the goal.
I said that is the stretch goal.
That was a stretch goal. Okay,
so that's the stretch goal. That 1.5 is a stretch because that's a 50% on top of what the goal was. Because this year, okay, so 2021 did $416,000.
Yes,
in revenue.
That was 2021.
This year, last year we did $416,000 in revenue. This year, I said, cool, I can at least double that. Really, 800 would really be like 100% return. That's like really what I wanted to say. But I was like, if I'm gonna go for 800, you might as well go for $1 million. I would be really mad to see 800 at the end of the year and not have gotten an extra 200,000. So cool, 1 million. And then I said, if I could do 1 million, you know, I could really probably push for 1.5.
Man, I'm so excited for this conversation. So I want this to be inspiration for a lot of people because I think this is something that a lot of people go through during growth, especially rapid growth. And this is kind of what I had to go through myself to set that goal for December. As far as like just that particular 4-week stretch in itself, this is where I really went through. So the thing that I want to talk about today is like what's stopping you. What's stopping you meaning to get to the point where you are today, you had to become a certain person. Yeah. What you become now is actually better or like more equipped than the person that you were before to achieve higher and better. And so now what's stopping you from achieving as much as you can achieve? Because just to preface it again, what did I say the number was that I expected you to I expected you to say what's your stretch goal on Tuesday?
5 million.
I said 5 million because you said 1.5. I was like, bro, what that one doing up in front? Because based on the mentality that I had, I was like, man, this stuff is exponential. And you don't even have to know the whole roadmap, but you just know, like, just throughout this year, The goal was originally what per month? What was the original revenue goal for not this year, 2021?
25,000.
The original goal was 25,000. You thrashed that by more than double
Yeah.
because you got new information. You continue to apply. You became the person that was able to achieve more than double what the new original goal was. So that's what led me to coming up with lots of different reasons, not lots of different ones, but they all like play on each other as far as what's stopping you from achieving way higher stretch goals than what you could currently imagine. So I just want to go through a couple. You can stop me anytime to discuss any of them, but I have 5 of them.
Well, hold on.
Go ahead.
So you're saying what's stopping me from saying I want, instead of saying 1.5, what's stopping me from saying 5 million?
Correct. So that was the initial one, but this is for everybody though still, because the concepts are going to be the same whether it's 1.5 million or 1.5 thousand. Like it's going to be the same type of, it's because it's nothing but a mentality shift.
Right.
And so understanding these things, like just seeing them up front, it's like, okay, that probably is what it was. And once you can get over that, then you're like, man, the sky's the limit. And I got examples too of like where I came up with this from.
Okay, go ahead.
So the first one here's some of the things that could potentially be stopping you. And like I said, we can discuss any one of these. The first one is a little bit of success. When I say that, I mean the number one enemy of a lot of success is a little bit of success. So you may have made a goal, this is more generic. Your goal may have been to hit 100,000 in a month. But once you see what 50,000 in a month looks like, you're like, man, I feel good, bro. Like, this is straight. I'll just, now you almost hit a level of comfort because of the fact that you have achieved a certain level of success. And now this is actually good enough to live a certain lifestyle. And so now you're like, I don't even need to go any further. Like the original goal was cool and all, but like I'm good, bro. Like I'm straight.
That's definitely not it for me.
No, I don't think that's it. There's more, but that's one. I came up with 5 of them.
This might not be for me, but somebody it might be.
Right.
That.
But now that one ties into the second one is not having anyone around you who sees things bigger than what you do. Now this one had an example tied to it. So in the morning meetup, Dave had mentioned that his goal was to get 1,000 members in the morning meetup in 2022. He currently was around, that's like participating per day. He was currently around like 500, maybe like 550 that would currently attend. So he's like, yeah, I think in 2020 he was at like 100, maybe 150. 2021 was around 500. So he said the goal for him 2022 was 1,000. He told the wrong person that though. He told Terry Ijeoma.
No.
We had her on episode 81. Had her episode 81. He told her, I want to do 1,000 members in the morning meetup. And she was like, that's it? He's like, what you mean? That's it? Yeah, 1,000. She's like, I thought you were going to say 10,000. And he was like, yo, I never, like, because you can't even fathom that type of growth within that short amount, within what you consider a short amount of time.
Right.
But this ties into number 3. My third one was that your original goals have dictated your current goals. Now, this might be where it starts hitting home more because what you were saying is that your original goal you said last year was to be able to hit $1 million in revenue this year. But now you see the person that you are today.
No. Last year, the goal was going to be, in last year, when I set my 5-year vision, 2022, if I'm being honest about what it was last year, it was going to be 50,000 a month in 2022.
That's true. I forgot. Yeah, that's even better. Continue.
So, but this year when I hit that, I was like, oh, I could definitely do 100,000 in 2022. Right. So I changed it this year to say 100,000 a month in 2022. And then that is kind of how that number came about now.
Yes, sir. So even still, the original goals are actually becoming a ceiling for you because you want to stick to it, but you're like, dang, I passed it already. I'm gonna put you a little bit more in. But now you're a whole new person that is capable of achieving way more.
Right.
So you can set up a whole new 5-year vision every single year.
No, I don't want to do that.
I know you don't want to do that, but I'm just saying, if you were going to dictate your level of success based off of the first time you set a 5-year vision, think about where you were 5 years ago.
Yeah, that's true.
This is 2022. Where were you in 2017?
Yeah, that's a fact.
If all of your goals for this year were based off of what you set in 2017, where would you be achieving?
I would be 2017. I would be in a job right now.
You'll be in. So that's my whole point, is that the person you become throughout each and every year changes, and so now you're capable of achieving way more because you have new information, you have new resources, you have new knowledge. You just are able to achieve way more. So that's one of the big thing that will stop people, is that when they set original goals, they try to hold to them, or they try to measure the level of success based off of that, even though they're capable of achieving way more. So that was number 3. That was a big one. I thought that would hit home, because it hit home for me too.
No, I feel that. That is true. Now that I think of it, yeah.
Number 4. That's it. This one also ties in a little bit. Now, I kind of got this one based off the conversation that we were having on Tuesday.
Yeah.
The number 4 is the fear of setting and not achieving unrealistic goals, quote unquote unrealistic, because where you're currently at, you may not see yourself doing X amount, let's say 5 million. That sounds like that's a super stretch. It's like, that don't even sound realistic no more. Who's to say you need to be realistic? Because I promise you, ask 2020 Alex if 50,000 a month by the end of 2021 was realistic.
Ask him from last year.
From 2020, the one who had just started the cleaning business in August of 2020, I guess in the middle of 2020.
Yeah.
Ask him, is 50,000 a month by the end of
the next year.
Really 60,000 a month by December 2021. Is that realistic?
Probably would have said no. I mean, I would have been very hesitant. I'm not the type to say no at nothing, but like I would have just been like, yo, I don't. But I don't know.
And you know how you would have responded? Sheesh, man, I don't know, man. The reason I said that example was because that was the same thing you just said today at the 1.5. Like, sheesh, I don't know, man. So that same mentality is going to happen when you are at your current self. But your future self has way more capability than what you're currently at. That's why I'm saying you don't have to see the whole roadmap, essentially, because as you go throughout this journey, you're going to become the person that's capable of achieving way more, because this is not your pinnacle right now either. You just said we barely out the I forgot what analogy you said, but we're barely
we're not in the big
we're not in the big leagues yet.
We're in the minors still. Not even.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. You said, so if you're in the minors right now, the big league, you can achieve way more than 1.5 in a year, 1.5 million in a year.
You're right.
And that can be in big leagues. We can be in the middle leagues by the middle of this year, or by the second quarter of this year. So that's what I'm saying is possible. But now you have to be okay with saying this may be unrealistic for me today, but the person I'm going to become is not unrealistic. But that's you having to stretch yourself beyond your current imagination, not setting something because that was a big one I want to hit on. Right now, you're setting guarantees. You're not setting goals. Because a goal is something that your current self, who you are today, cannot achieve a goal, the goal that you have, because you have to become a bigger person. It's some type of mentally, business-wise, physically, whatever. That you have to become a certain person to achieve a goal. You set a guarantee by saying a million this year. Because if I just do 60,000 times 12, let's do that math real quick. If we just do the same thing we did in 2020, 2021,
it's not going. It'll be like 720.
I ain't worry about that then. So we did 75,000 times 12. We had 900,000. I mean, that's assuming that you don't even hit 100,000 a month.
Yeah.
But the way that we were pacing, just from last year to the way that you were pacing in the cleaning business from last year, like in the middle of last year to December, it was showing that this growth is almost inevitable, and it can be way more if you continue to focus in on it. This was my biggest one right here, and this is number 5, unknown territory. When I say unknown territory, I mean that the things it's going to require for you to hit the bigger goal is unknown, and the things that you haven't done before, those are like a subconscious fear of like getting into it because you don't know what it's going to take to actually go through it all together, because you just haven't done it before.
Right.
The example I had for that was the commercial contracts. That was something that's very feasible, but at the same time, it's something that hasn't been done before. So I don't know what is required of me to get a commercial contract. What's required of me to execute a commercial contract and to go through it from beginning to end and like just doing it. Somebody's done it before. It hasn't been me though, so it's unknown territory. But what you just said earlier was that you don't know what the ROI is on investing $50,000 into the commercial contracts this year, but you know the potential based off of the first one that you got.
Yeah.
And so you start. I forgot exactly how you put it. You said this one was only 60,000. They could be 80,000, 100,000. That was just the first one. Build credibility behind, like show a level of history to what you've done with commercial contracts in the past to somebody else in the future. They could be $1 million contracts, and that's not unfeasible. I'm sure people are doing it all the time. You just don't know about them because you don't know about it because you don't know those people.
Right.
But now if you start stretching yourself to say I'm about to go seek out people who do commercial contracts, that $5 million may be the new low for the year.
Right.
And so that was my whole thing with what's stopping you, because who you were before that set the goals is kind of almost dictating what your actions look like today, which is very, I guess it holds you back in a way.
Yeah. Because
the person that you were before is not who you are today. Who you are today is capable of way more, and who you are in the future is going to be even better than who you are today.
Yeah. Hey man, you spitting. I don't know what got into you. But
I told you on Tuesday. I was like, I got it. I figured.
This man came here and chose to speak nothing but facts. Hey, I dig it, especially 4 or 5. That's real. 4 or 5, I think, because here's the thing. So wait, what was 4 again? What was the title of it?
4 was the fear of setting and or achieving unrealistic goals.
Right.
Not achieving unrealistic goals.
And so my whole thing with that is like, okay, at this point, because here's the thing, I'll play devil's advocate for a second. Fine. If I'm gonna say 5 million, why not say 100 million? Like, at what point is it like, why stop there? Like, do you see what I'm saying? Like, what's the point of even setting a threshold then? Why not just say 10 million, 50 million, 100 million?
Whichever one you said is going to be, I have no issue with that personally.
But we know that it's not real. Like, you're not hitting 100 million this year. It's not even a way in the world. Like, yo, it's not even a possibility.
Who's to say it's not?
It's not a possibility.
That's your belief system on that. Because the thing with a goal is, though, seriously, when you set the goal, that is. Don't got it. I really don't care no more. Okay. Because when you set the goal, that's going to dictate your level of intensity.
Right.
Because even my thing is, I'd rather set a big goal than miss than set a small goal and hit it.
See, here's the thing with that though, because I think you're understating, and again, I'm playing devil's advocate.
That's fine.
I think you're understating the importance of, like, or at least, because the thing is, when you hit a goal, there's a certain level of momentum it gives you. And it's like, because the thing about me is, like, if I set my mind to a certain thing, it's kind of like, if I don't get that thing, I'm gonna be devastated. And then if I do, it could be a big goal, but it's like you still didn't hit it. And that's just the way I'm wired, where it's like, if I set something for myself, I'm gonna be a maniac until I get it. So it's like, I don't want to, like, if I set a stupid goal, I'm gonna be a maniac. And I ain't trying to go super crazy. Like it's just, I don't know. And I think that ties into number 5 too, where it's kind of like, I just don't know how I would even, like, do that.
I see why those resonated so much, Dan, because that's true. That's why I say setting a big goal will set a level of intensity within you, because you're going to figure out how to become that person that can do it, because you are determined to achieve it, and not say that, because I guess you will associate not hitting the goal with a failure in a sense. Yeah,
even if it was a big goal and I come up short, I'm gonna be like, yo, I failed, even though it was a big goal. Mm-hmm. This is just the way my mind is, like, wired. But if it was in, let's say, retrospect, a smaller goal of $1 million, and I hit that, I'm gonna be like, yo, I'm that dude. Like,
I can't wait to hear on this. So you rather give yourself a false sense of reality, saying
not false,
not false, but no. Look at this though. If you set a $5 million goal this year and hit $3 million, you would be more upset about doing that than setting a $1 million goal and getting 1.5.
As crazy as it sounds, my mind would, and I'm being slightly facetious here, but as crazy as that sounds, my mind would be like, if we didn't have this conversation, mm-hmm. and, like, because now with this knowledge, it's like, yeah, if I set that goal and I come up, because now at that point I'll have changed from the $1 million to $5 million and knowing like, oh well, it's still better than what I would have done. But like if I came in with the year and there was no prior conversation about this, and I was like, yo, I'm trying to do $5 million this year, and I do $3 million, and it's just like I come up short and be like, dang. Versus if I came in and said I'm trying to do $1 million and I do 1.5 million, I'm like, yo, I'm feeling good.
So yeah, that's number 4 altogether. That's a lot of number 4. The fear of setting and not achieving the unrealistic goal. But that was my realization of it though. Is understanding that me setting a small goal does me a disservice. Because I'm capable of more, but I'd rather be okay with getting less because I got it.
Yeah. But is this a small goal though?
It's small for who you are today. It's big for a lot of people, but big is relative.
Right.
I wish I had a good analogy for that right now, but I don't. But no, that big is definitely relative though, because big for 2020, Alex, was $25,000 a month.
All right.
For you, that's a terrible month. For 2022, Alex, that you might as well go ahead and shut down the business.
Yeah, I'm going back to work.
That's because that's not big anymore.
I'm not going back to work, but yeah.
So that's my whole point with it. So big to you right now is $100,000 a month. Right. 2020. I want to come back to this episode now. 2023, the first episode. I want to talk to that Alex and ask him what big looks like now in the business, because it's gonna be different. It's not gonna be $100,000 a month.
Yeah, and yo man, I mean I can't deny anything you're saying. Like it's facts. It's 100% facts. A lot of it has to do with it's hard, and I know I'm always big about thinking about my future self, but it's very hard to imagine future self when it comes to things like this because of the unknown aspect of it. Because it's like I don't even know how the heck I'm gonna do that. I don't even know, because it's easy to say future self if I already know. Oh, I just gotta do this, mm-hmm. this, and this, and then boom. But it's hard to say future self when it's like I don't even know what future self got to do. And it's kind of like trusting just into like you're at that point. It's like I know myself well enough that like I'm always elevating. I'm always trying to learn new things. I can trust that aspect mm-hmm. about me, that like at least I know future self will have new information. Future self will know new things. I don't know if it's gonna be enough to hit $5 million a month, but he will know new things. So I don't know. It's kind of something that you got. It's like a mental thing.
Yep,
completely.
And I want to hit on this part too. What does this unlock for you? If you're okay with setting that super stretch goal because of where you are today versus where you were before, what this unlocks is the answer to your question. I don't know how to do that. I'm gonna go back to Dave's example. Dave went from saying 1,000 a month to not 1,000 a month, 1,000 new members in the morning meetup to saying my goal is 10,000. So what did that unlock for him? That unlocked him thinking of ways to get there. And now he sat down and said, how do I pull this off? And all of a sudden, a whole new roadmap appeared. Because of the fact that he's had to really figure out, if this is my goal, I need to figure out a way to get there. Yeah. I can't do what I was going to do to get 1,000 to get 10,000. I got to do more. I got to do something different. It doesn't have to be more. I got to think of a different strategy though. Something has to change as far as how I get there. It might not just be able to be me anymore. What do I need to do now to get there that I wasn't going to do before? But because I set that goal in the first place, now I have to do something different, and that unlocks the whole new way of approach.
Yeah, no, that's real, because now it forces your brain to think of new things. Because if that's your goal, then your brain is just not going to be. You can't continue doing the same things knowing this is your goal and expect to get there. Your brain is like, dude, you got to do something differently. And even you can keep trying to do the same things, but you know deep down you got to do something differently. It's the same way with me. And it's like, yo, if I set the goal to say 5 million, and this is, I would have to, I'm not even saying I'm doing that, but I would have to like really like sit down and figure out if that's, I don't want to say realistic, but like I got to figure out if like, all right, well, come on, let's keep it 100 here. So I think a lot of that has to do. The biggest thing for me is that number 5 is not. It's important, but I know, like I said, I trust future me to like be able to get the new information that will be like, yo, I know how I can do this. My whole thing is just I would have to get over the fact of like setting something that's unrealistic. And I think that's the crux of what it was. I set a goal that, based off of what I said last year. That's a very realistic goal for me to hit this year of doing 100,000 in a month. We're not even really talking. I don't even really like to look at the revenue for the year. I really don't care too much about that.
That's how, I'm at the same place at this point. That's why I said the monthly instead of the yearly, because it's like every month is going to be better, and it's not going to even be. That's why I don't like setting like you said, the revenue goal, because that's assuming that you had to hit this every single month, and it's not going to work out like that.
And that's the thing, like, the later months are going to be much higher than the early months. So it's like, well,
how do you know that?
I mean, you just, because again, I trust future me that, like, he knows it's like, yo, you're going to find new information, you're going to do new things. And a part of me already knows what I need to do to get to 1 million. It's very simple. But to get to 5, I would have to, again, it's going to come into new things, into the unknown territory. Commercial stuff, for me specifically, the commercial stuff will be very big for me. That alone, like, I mean, you keep it 100, 10 $100,000 commercial cleaning contracts is $1 million. And that's $10,000 per month contracts.
How many residential cleanings have you done in the past year?
Last year, it's over 1,000.
Let's just cut that into 5%. That's 50. So can we get 50 commercial contracts in a year if we can do 1,000 residential?
I don't know.
What would that yield us?
It just would depend on the contract, but if it's like 5,000 a contract, that's 50 of those. That's what, 250,000 a month.
So that just went from 100,000 was to go to 250,000 that quick.
Yeah. Yo, I don't know about 50 though. That's 50.
I mean, we just Angst 2020, Alex. We need 1,000 cleanings this month or this year. I don't know, man. That's just a lot. How many is that a month? 1,000 divided by 12. Yo, that's like 83. That's a lot, bro.
Yeah, you right. This is just, man, I'm gonna have to think about a lot of this stuff, because to me it's more so about, and the thing you said about setting like new 5-year visions, that could be really big, but it's just very it's very, what's it called for me? It's very,
you want to get to that 5th year, I think.
Yeah. Like that, I wanted to hit that 50, and it's like you gonna keep pushing it further. Like, all right, cool. It's 2022.
Like hanging a carrot in your face.
Yeah,
yo,
it's like
that carrot.
It's like 2027, 5-year vision. 2028, 5-year vision. It's like, when am I gonna get to that? At least see my new. But you know what's crazy about that?
Yeah,
I really do like that, and this is when it'll come to a mindset shift. Because now, let's say I set a new 5-year vision every year. So now we say 2020. Let's say it's 2022, 5 years from now, 2027, my 5-year vision. Based on what I know now, it was $1 million a month for 2026. What I know now, it could be $5 million a month, right? Cool. Now let's say I get to 2023, my new 5-year vision for 2028, $10 million a month. And let's just say it keeps going. By the time I get to 2026, that number I would actually be at will be stupid higher than what I said was 2021 5-year vision of 2026 of $1 million a month. So I definitely see the value in doing it that way.
That goes back to number 3, the original goals. If you maintain those original goals and let that hold you to like what your track should be, dude, you're gonna hit way less than what you would hit if you continue.
That's actually a good point. Now I'm thinking of it, because all my actions are going to be dedicated based off of hitting that number in 2026. So I could be doing a lot, and then I'll say like, oh, okay, I've done a good amount. Let me slow down, because now I've hit that one. And I'm always doing enough just so I can get there at 2026. When in reality, if I was really always pushing that envelope every single year to do the max, instead of like slowing down once I actually, got there, that 2026, you would have hit that 3 years earlier. In the same way we hit financial freedom 3 years before we said was the original goal.
You want to still be pacing for 28?
Come on, man. So that's crazy. It's just crazy to think about. And it's kind of like, because I know this year I kind of did that at the end of the year, and we talked about this. Mm-hmm.
And that's really what the base that inspired this is that original conversation we had.
Yeah, because for those that don't, so the original goal for this year, it was 25. Then I said I want to do 50, and then I got to 50, and I was like, yeah, all right. Let me kind of I took my foot off the gas.
I think October, November, December was all around the same, and maybe 60. And I know you did 60 in December, but that was on accident.
Yeah, October and November it was like 53 or 52, 50, 54, something like that. And I mean, a lot of it is just kind of like I wasn't doing the things that because a big thing is hiring for me. Mm-hmm. I gotta have capacity to be able to do. Obviously, the more revenue you do, the more capacity and labor you'll need to do all those bookings. And I know I got to a point at the quarter 4 this year where it's like, oh, I have enough capacity to do 50,000. That was the goal. Let me slow down a little bit on hiring. And I didn't get any more capacity. And then once opened up Austin, got some more capacity. I kind of was like, oh, okay, I got I got the same amount of crews in Austin as we do in San Antonio. Okay, I'm good. I don't need to really push that. But now it's kind of like, if you really, again, it goes back to not really taking your foot off that gas. And that's really what all of this is for me. I think that's what it boils down to for me. Like me personally, it might be different. Like everyone's takeaway from this will be different. But for me personally, it's like, I can get my goal. I can hit my goals and crush them and be like, oh, okay, we good. I got that goal. And it gives you like a sense of like, you know, confidence, and you feel good about yourself because you hit your goal. So you kind of take your foot off the accelerator a little bit. But if you continue to push it, you're going to find that, again, that 2026 vision, you're going to be hitting that 3 years before you actually thought you was going to hit it, because you were actually you were capable of doing that a lot sooner, but you kept slowing down every time you would hit a goal. So that's kind of my takeaway from it.
Is that the what's it called? Take it or leave it? Yeah, was that your take it or leave it moment?
Dang near.
All right. Well, I'm gonna go. I guess we just transitioned randomly like that. Okay, cool. So my take it or leave it moment for this one. Don't let what your previous version of yourself, like the goals that person set, don't let that dictate what you're currently capable of achieving. Because if we had let what our 2018 goal, because in 2018 we just got started in real estate, got started in this side of life. My original goal was financial freedom by age 32, on $10,000 a month of income from rental properties.
It's poverty.
And me today is looking at that like, man, why are you thinking that small? So if you can come out yourself for a second and think about what future you is going to tell you today about how you're thinking.
Dude, that's so big because, sorry, were you
finished? No, go ahead.
Because I know one thing, and I'm a big Grant Cardone fan. A lot of people don't like him, but I'm a big fan of his. And one thing he always talks about was that one thing he would do differently is he would have thought bigger earlier. Mm-hmm. Like, think big early on, even when you're getting started. I know it's hard because you just don't.
It looks unrealistic, man. It's just I don't know. How am I going to get there today? It's not about you getting there today. It's more so about the person you're going to become along this way, and with the things that the way your actions are going to change in order to achieve it. Because
I'm already thinking about it.
Exactly.
I'm already thinking about the end of this year.
Mission accomplished. That was my goal for this episode. So I've been saving this for like 2 days because I didn't even want to mention it on Tuesday. I had so much that was boiling. So glad we were able to have a conversation though.
Yeah, man. That was. I think a lot of people are getting value from that. So, do we have time for a question or no?
I don't think I have a question.
Oh, never mind. No question this week. So, that's it.
Yeah, but if y'all got any questions that y'all want us to answer on live, we usually answer the questions on our solo episodes. So leave questions into our Instagram DM at Money Monopolizers, and we can get your questions answered live.
Yeah, and so y'all, before we wrap this up too, make sure y'all definitely go leave a rating and review for the show for this year, or for this episode. If you are listening right now on Apple Podcasts, be sure to do that. If you're watching on YouTube, definitely, my stuff going crazy over there. Definitely be sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel, like the videos as well. We trying to bring as much value as we can. This year we got so much packed for y'all. We gonna be bringing a lot of heavy hitting guests, more so than we've ever had. Definitely this year we gonna be traveling, doing a lot of that stuff. So stay tuned for a lot of stuff we got planned for the show, man. We made a lot of big changes last year, so we'll be continue to follow along with the format and in-person episodes and those kinds of things. But the biggest thing this year will probably be getting the best guests we can get. So, yeah, man. But, yeah, that is it for this episode of the Money Monopolizers podcast. New episodes will be released every Thursday. Will be available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube. Just search Money Monopolizers wherever you listen to podcasts. We hope you enjoyed this episode. And if you did, we'd appreciate it if you rated us 5 stars and left us a review on Apple Podcasts. You can also find out more information about us on Instagram at Money Monopolizers or Twitter at The Monopolizers. We post informative content on there that'll keep you engaged, so be sure to check that out and share those posts. But until then, we are out of here.
You've been listening to the Money Monopolizers podcast, helping you take control of your financial destiny. To learn more about how you can be in control of your money, visit moneymonopolizers.com. We'll catch you next time when Alex and Marlon share more personal finance and wealth creation tips with you. Now it's time to take action.